One of the biggest fears that many people have about retirement is that they're not going to have enough money to retire comfortably. And if you go online and see all these things that say you need millions and millions and you need to have this much and that much to retire comfortably, please keep in mind that retirement is not a one size fits all kind of a deal. It all kind of depends on the lifestyle that you want to live during retirement. In this video, I'm going to break down what that looks like, and I have a retirement calculator that you can look up to give yourself an estimate of how much you actually need to retire comfortably. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jen. I'm glad you're here. So one of the main things about retirement and what you hear in the news and online is it can be pretty scary because you hear, you know, people need millions to retire. Most Americans aren't going to be able to retire. You hear a lot about Social Security going away, and well, I can't say to whether or not or when Social Security is going away. That's a big fear factor in whether you're going to actually ever be able to retire and how much you need to retire. What I discussed in my last video is that your lifestyle changes how much you need for retirement, and your lifestyle impacts greatly how much you need for retirement. If you haven't watched my last video, I will link it in the first comment below and in the description. Go check that one out. I discuss how you go over what your lifestyle is going to look like in retirement, and also go into discussing with your spouse or partner what theirs looks like, and you can come up with an idea of what your lifestyle is going to look like, which is the main thing as to how much money you're going to need in retirement. So lifestyle changes how much you're going to want to save for retirement. Do you want to have luxury items? Do you want to have a big house? Do you want to travel? Or is your lifestyle more simple? You want to downsize? You want to not do so much traveling? These are all things to consider when you're thinking about how much you need to retirement. Is your mortgage going to be paid off? Do you have outstanding debt that you still need to pay off in retirement? Those are all going to be factors into how much you need to retire and what your lifestyle is going to look like. Inflation is going to factor into how much your retirement lifestyle looks like, and when you want to retire. That's going to be another thing. Housing is going to be one of the biggest factors to look at when you're looking at when you're going to retire and how much you're going to need to retire. Housing is one of the biggest expenses that you have. And so you want to look at it like this. Is your mortgage paid off, or is it going to be paid off? Or are you renting? Are you going to consider continuing to rent? What is your rent per month going to look like? And even if, say you pay off your mortgage, you're still going to have property taxes. You're going to have maintenance and upkeep. You're going to have insurance on your property. Those are all factors that you definitely want to keep into consideration. And you can cut your retirement income down significantly if your house is paid off, or if you live in an area where you're renting and your rent is not super high, or you can, get an idea of how much the rent is going to be into retirement. That's one thing that you can look at. And that's going to be a big portion because housing is a huge portion of what your retirement expenses are going to actually be. Debt items are the next big thing you want to look at when you're looking into retirement. You want to look at, do you have a vehicle payment, or do you have credit card debt? What other kind of debts do you owe? Can you pay them off before retirement, or are you going to go into retirement with these debts? That's going to play a huge factor into how much you need for retirement. It's going to make a significant difference. If you don't have a vehicle payment, that's going to be a huge difference per month as to whether or not you need that much money, extra money, when you're in retirement. One of the other factors you want to look at when you're considering how much income you need in retirement is actually that. What kind of income are you expecting to have during your retirement? Are you looking at, say, only Social Security or a pension retirement? And Social Security, I can't say as to whether or not there's going to be any Social Security around, depending on when you want to retire. But what sources of income are you actually going to have? And these days, retirement looks a lot different than it used to be, and even with my parents, their retirement looks entirely different than what I'm thinking of as retirement. Their retirement is where they're not working any kind of like having any kind of an income like from work coming into their household. They're looking at Social Security and what other pensions they've paid into, what investments they've paid into. Those are what their income is going to be, and they're living on all those sources of income coming into their household. My retirement, I feel, looks a little bit different. I'm looking at, perhaps working a part time job, which is something that I want to do and don't necessarily have to stress myself out about, something that I can work on my terms and when I want to work. And also, something I've been doing lately is doing surveys and various online tasks that pay you money. And it's not a reliable stream of income that I could say I make $300 a month with, but it's a supplemental income. And I'm looking at it now and saying, okay, well, I can do this supplemental income and pay for my internet or this or that, just a few extra bills that are coming in, and it's going to help me speed up getting to retirement quickly. But this is something that I wouldn't mind having a little bit of that going into my retirement. And it's something that I can kind of do anywhere. I don't necessarily have to be at my house to do it or somewhere else. So it's not like having a part-time job where you would have to go somewhere. But there are also a lot of other income streams these days. You could do remote work part-time. Um, Surveys, like I said, and something like this YouTube channel. I mean, right now I don't have any income whatsoever coming in from it, nor do I have anything coming in from my websites or any affiliates really that are attached to anything at this point in time. Not enough to, say that I have a supplemental income from that, but in the future, that's something that, if this channel grows and if my website grows and affiliate programs and stuff like that grow, then I can have that kind of income. And that'll be kind of a stream of income that I can work on a little bit part time. I can continue doing videos. And if I'm monetized, then, I can say, well, I may have some extra income coming in from that. Another factor we can look at when looking at what we're guesstimating for our retirement income is simplicity. And that means living more living more frugally, intentionally spending, downsizing, minimization. Can we look at that as a way to reduce our monthly income needs? Can we look at spending intentionally to reduce how much we're going out and actually buying? Is that something that you want to do? That's another lifestyle thing along the same lines of how how frugal is your lifestyle going to be in retirement? Or are you planning on spending on luxury things, or are you planning on being frugal? That's another factor to look at. I think retirement becomes less overwhelming when we look at it from a standpoint of what our income is now and what our lifestyle actually is going to look like when we get to retirement. And I encourage you to write down all of your expenses that you have now, estimate whether you're going to have a mortgage in retirement or a car payment in retirement or debt in retirement, look at the various things that your expenses now. Write down all of your expenses that you have now, say travel, gas, groceries, those kind of things. Figure all that out now and then make a column next to it, which is what your estimate in retirement. And look at, are you going to have a mortgage or are you not? Are you going to have a car payment? Are you going to not? I would encourage you to put a line in for saving for big things. And then what you can do is you can multiply the amount you get by an inflation number. See how that compares to what your income is now. And, that can tell you how much you may need monthly, yearly in retirement and go from there. If you're planning on doing a retirement where, say, I know that Social Security has their calculators that'll tell you if you retire at such and such an age, you'll have this much per month. If you have, say, a 401k or a brokerage account or something like that, they can tell you, you can run a calculator through there as to when you start drawing, how much per month you can expect to draw from there. That'll give you an idea of what your income is going to be from those sources. And then you can determine, well, do I need a part-time job? Do I need to make some kind of a side income? Or do I need to lower my standards that I want to live at to be able to live in retirement? I encourage you to go through and actually figure out what your retirement needs are going to be. If this sounds confusing, I do have a retirement calculator on my website. I'll have it linked in the description below. Please go check it out. If you've liked this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe. I will be coming out with some other retirement videos. And of course, my usual content where I discuss frugality, decluttering, and minimalization. Try saying that 3 times fast. I thank you for watching. My name is Jen. I'll see you in the next one.